Hey guys, welcome back. I have, I guess, another encouragement for you. I don't really know what I would call these videos, but I'm gonna try to keep it short, but it's gonna be packed full of information, so just bear with me. So a few days ago, I was watching a live stream and my cousin Stephanie Wallace was on talking about many different topics on a live stream. And at the very, very end, she mentions briefly seasons of a person's life. And she mentions it in reference to winter, summer, spring, etc. And I always hear people talk about seasons, wilderness season, this season, that season. I'm just in that season of my life. But as it relates to actual earthly seasons, I don't hear that as often. So it caught my attention. That night, I remembered something that I learned when I worked in the school system. I worked in a second grade classroom, and one day we were in STEM class, and I'm just helping out, obviously, and the teacher starts teaching on a deciduous tree. Deciduous tree. And I was like, oh my God, for some reason, that was the only thing that really stuck with me as far as lessons. Like, I have never forgot that word, a deciduous tree. And so most people know evergreen trees, and everybody actually knows a deciduous tree, except they just don't know the name. So an evergreen stays green all year round. A deciduous tree is the one that's going to lose its leaves in the fall, or the leaves change in the fall and then it loses its leaves in the winter, then it all grows back. Yay. But it's important to know physically and spiritually why this occurs. So the science behind a deciduous tree is that obviously in the fall, the days get shorter, so there is less sunlight per day compared to the summer. The deciduous tree is going to notice that there is less sunlight per day, and it is planning for the winter. It has only enough reserve to keep the trunk and the branches alive, but in order to properly stay alive, it's going to shed off what it can afford to shed off, which is the leaves. It doesn't need the leaves. That is just extra weight, extra stuff, extra responsibility that it's going to have to keep alive throughout the winter. So if this is the branch and this is the leaf, this connection here, it's going to start to close off this connection. The leaf is going to start turning yellow, red, orange, whatever color, and then it's going to fall off. An evergreen tree, on the other hand, is so strategically designed. The needles are designed in a way, and it's waxy so that it can conserve, or not conserve, it has a lot more reserve of water and nutrients, and it can continue photosynthesis throughout the year for years. Okay, so the deciduous tree is going to shed that leaf, can't afford to keep it, conserving, right? It's going into survival mode. The evergreen tree has enough reserve. It has picked up enough reserve throughout the summer, fall, whatever, to keep itself alive and thriving and green all year round. So when I heard her say this and I start thinking about these trees, I think of myself and I think of everyone else who goes through these winter seasons, and it's straight survival mode, straight autopilot. I don't even know what's going on half the time. You know what I mean? It is isolation. It is don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't ask me to do anything, don't do this, don't do that. I cut off what I can where I can, and it is straight surviving until it's time for the next season. And I was like, we should really learn how to be evergreen trees where we have built up, because we thrive in like the summers and the spring, and we're springing into this and it's summer, whatever, I don't know. And we thrive during those times. We look forward to those times, to those seasons, those feelings. And as soon as it's time for winter, we're like, whoop, bring it in. Bring it in. And you're just waiting. That's what it feels like. It feels like just waiting until the next season starts. And that's no way to live. And God does not ask or require us to live that way. And I'm going to show you how. In Jeremiah 17, verse 7 and 8, it says, "But blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. They are like trees planted along a riverbank with roots that reach down deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat or worried by long months of drought. Their leaves stay green and they never stop producing fruit." Now, I don't know about y'all, but maybe I'm just talking to myself at this point. But in that winter season, and you can almost liken it to a wilderness season, but they are not the same in and of itself. I stopped producing fruit. It happens time and time again, and I notice it, and it happens. And I'm like, you know what? I need to put my hope and my confidence in the Lord so that I continue producing fruit, even if it is, because those seasons are not meant for you to stop. Like, they are meant to slow down, take introspection. You're going through process, you might be going through tests, you might be going through trials, but it's never meant for you to just completely put a halt on everything, your spiritual life, your physical life. But it is meant for stillness. It's meant to slow you down. But sometimes in that stillness, we just stop and we're like, nope, scratch it all. I'm just going to wait until the next season comes so I can thrive. And really, in those summer seasons, you're meant to pick up so much stuff, not like garbage, but you're meant to pick up enough reserve to really last you through the winter. And then the things you learn in the winter, you can use in the summer and the spring. And then when it comes back around, the things you learned in summer and spring, you can use in the winter and the fall. And then, you're staying evergreen. Evergreen. And I was telling somebody this today, actually, and she said, this is not the definitions of the word, but she did say deciduous sounds like decision, and evergreen sounds like forever green. And I was like, it does. It's not the definition, but it does sound like it. And that's really what it is. The deciduous tree it's a tree, but it actively makes the decision that, hey, it's time to drop everything we can so that we can make it through the winter. We only have enough reserve to make it through the winter. And then, summer comes around and it becomes fruitful again. So, we're not hopeless. If you are not producing fruit in your winter, you're still going to produce fruit. But I guess the point I'm making is that it doesn't have to be that way. You can still be in your winter, your wilderness, and still be fruitful. That fruitfulness may look different, but it is still fruitful at the end of the day. So I just pray a Jeremiah 17, 7 and 8 over you and I. Trust me when I say I need this. I need this. And I just pray that we can have the confidence, the trust in God to keep us through every season. That's all I gotta say. All right, bye.